Hi everyone, we are back to do another night of Advent. I will actually be doing two videos today, just because I was not able to get the 19th day posted yesterday, but we're going to go ahead and take care of that one right now, and then we will do the 20th later on today. So, I am back in my little spot with my Christmas tree, so we are actually going to be able to do our candles today. So we're going to go ahead and light those to get started. Oh, and actually, before I do that, just so everybody knows, in case this is your first video, first time seeing this, anything like that, we are doing this study out of a book called An Advent Devotional Unwrapping the Names of Jesus. It looks like this. So that's what we've been using. We've been doing the candles for Advent for each Sunday. And then during the week we go over a name of Jesus. So that's how we've been doing this study. So I'm going to go ahead and light the 3 candles we've already done. We will light a new one this Sunday. But yeah, so the first one that we ever lit when this started was hope. And this is the hope that the Lord gives us. The definition of hope is to want or wait for something without any true guarantee that it will happen, but you're still hoping for it. But we have a different hope. We have a hope in Jesus, and it's a guaranteed hope because we know that he is coming back. We know that he is going to return, and we know that we are promised eternity with him as children of Christ. So we have a living hope, and a knowing that other people don't have, because we know what's going to be at the end, and we know what's coming. All the battles are won. The war is won. So no matter what we face, we know that hope is there. The second one that we did was actually kind of a twofer. So in the book, it was preparation. So preparation of your heart, so that you could be ready to receive his story this season. It just means to prepare your heart so that he can come in and do the work he needs to do. And the second one was actually it was peace, and it goes with the peace, goes with preparation, because it is you have to prepare your heart for that peace. So that's why I thought they were really great together, because my church did peace where the book did preparation, and I think they go very well together because we have to prepare our hearts in order to receive that peace. And the peace is, the peace of Jesus Christ. So it's the only peace that we can truly have, like the true peace that will last us a lifetime, because we know once again that the battle is won. So we have peace in the knowing that no matter what we face in this life, we'll be with him in the next. And then the third one that we did was joy. So this is the joy of Jesus, the joy that he gives us, and the joy that that he brings us, that his story brings us, the salvation that he gives us brings. All of that is part of the joy of Jesus, and it's something that's always there, no matter what we're going through, what time period we are in our lives, what we have going on. That joy persists, even in the darkest of times. So that's the joy of Jesus. So those are our 3 candles so far. Now let's get started with the name for today, or for the 19th. So this is for our 19th day of Advent. This is Jesus is the bread of life. Then Jesus declared, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." John 6:34. In the ancient Middle East, bread was a staple part of people's diet. It was the most reliable source of energy for the body and was readily available with little preparation. For the Israelites in particular, bread was considered a special food because of its religious connotations. In the tabernacle and later the temple, There was a table of showbread in the holy place that symbolized God's desire to fellowship with his people, as well as the bit of manna that was hidden in the Ark of the Covenant in the Holy of Holies as a symbol of God's provision. When Jesus used the phrase bread of life and bread from heaven, his listeners would have immediately thought of the story of manna. God gave manna to the traveling Israelites in the wilderness to save them from certain death by starvation. In a similar way, God gave Jesus into the world to save us from certain death by separation from him. But Jesus wasn't simply drawing a parallel to Moses. He taught that the bread of life is greater than the manna their ancestors received under Moses. In fact, his declaration came shortly after feeding the 5,000, a miracle that became an object lesson about the greatness of Jesus over Moses. The manna God provided through Moses satisfied only temporarily. The manna Jesus was offering, his very life satisfies eternally. Jesus offers himself to all who believe in him in an invitation to fellowship that isn't restricted to priests as the showbread was, but is open to all. Just as Jesus himself ate with the tax collectors, prostitutes, and sinners. And in the beautiful picture of the Last Supper, we're reminded that Jesus' broken body secures our place at God's table. As a morsel of bread becomes part of our bodies and gives us energy, so Jesus becomes part of us when we believe in him and open access to fellowship with God. He satisfies every longing and desire with himself. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Psalm 16:11. The bread of life invites us to feast on him. So the bread of life, once again a very common one. I think one of the more common ones that is brought up, especially because of like the Last Supper as well as the feeding the 5,000, which was one of the first miracles he performed. And I think I think when people first hear that, especially if you're not a Christian, I think it probably sounds kind of weird, like, oh, feast on him, the bread of life. He is the bread of life. That does sound kind of weird. But I love the symbolism of it because, like it said, back in the day, bread was a staple. They didn't have access to all the stuff that we do today. And on top of that, some of those things they still don't have access to, because it's considered unclean food for the Israelites, with pork, or the Jewish, belief is with pork and that sort of thing. So bread was a really quick and easy way, with little preparation to make it. And it was a really quick and easy way to keep that energy up, to have something to eat, to take something with you, because people traveled, foot a lot back then. Everybody didn't have donkeys and horses and carts and stuff like that. They had to walk a lot. So it was something easy to make that they could take quickly with them, and eat on it for the day, that sort of thing. So, when you think about it in the Bible context, in that time period's context, it makes perfect sense. And the symbolism for it is showing how, while you have to continue to make, this bread, you have to go and replenish and all of these things, because the energy it gives you is only temporary. What God gives you is eternal. And you only have to eat it one time when you ask him into your heart, and he will feed us forever. And that is what it means by feast on him, because it literally means when you go into him and you invite him into your heart, and then you continue to feast on him by learning about him, his testimony, all the words he spoke in the Bible from old to new, praying with him, being in community with him. All of those things are part of feasting on him. Because it is, our steady feed to grow. So I love the bread of life analogy, because it's very poetic and very, a very true symbolism, because it is, our spiritual lives We are starved without him. He's the only one that can fill that void. He is the only one that can sustain it, and he's the only one that can come and save us and give us that eternal life. So it's a very good name. So the challenge for this one is, many people try to fill the void in their lives with more stuff. More shopping, more money, more friends, more food, but they are always left wanting more. As Christmas draws near, examine your heart and your desires. Do you crave more stuff, or do you crave more of Jesus? Ask him to give you a hunger for more of him. I'm going to read that one more time. Many people try to fill the void in their lives with more stuff. More shopping, more money, more friends, more food. But they're always wanting more. As Christmas draws near, examine your heart and your desires. Do you crave more stuff, or do you crave more Jesus? Ask him to give you a hunger for more of him. I love that one. So once again, a lot of very good symbolism there. It's just another great metaphor for him being the bread of life, because this goes back to the same thing. The manna that Moses had, it was temporary. Just like any other bread they ate back then, it was temporary. They did have to renew that bread. They had to, to make more. They had to do all these things. It was a very temporary thing. But just like that, a lot of people will do that. They'll try to fill this void they feel, in their lives with, shopping, money, more stuff. Like, that's, the material things, because we think that is going to fill that hole, but it doesn't. It never does. And that's why it becomes even an addiction at times, because it's like we're chasing this, like we get this temporary fix of, oh, that's great, I love that, that feels good, we get that temporary rush, and then it goes away again. So we're constantly chasing it. It's just like any other high. And it's the same, the same concept. It's because we're constantly chasing that original feeling when we got that certain thing, or whatever. And ultimately, it's because we are trying to fill a void that we don't know how to fill. So we think, it's more stuff will do it, but it says to ask to give you a hunger for him, and that is when you will find that void starts to fill, because he is the only one that can truly fill it. It's spiritual and a heart thing, rather than just a physical need. And like I said, he's the only one that can fill it. We can try and fill that void with whatever stuff we want, be it shopping, be it alcohol, be it, whatever the case may be. We can try to fill it with whatever we want, but it's all temporary, and it's not going to fill that void or last forever. The only one that can and will is Jesus. So I highly encourage you to think about that challenge today, and really think about it. Try to go in and process, like, okay, is it I need this stuff? Is it, or is it I want it? And that's what you're doing, is filling in that void. Really search yourself, search your feelings, and really check and see, do you feel empty? Do you feel like there's something missing? And do you feel like you're trying to constantly fill that missing? And if the answer is yes, I guarantee you that is the best prayer you can pray, is for him to give you a hunger for him, because he will be the one that can come in and fill that void, and you will start to feel better. So highly encourage that prayer. We will do the prayer and further reading, and then I'll close out for now, and I'll be back later to do our 20th day names for today. So prayer for this is, Jesus, you are everything I've ever wanted, but how often I turn to other things to satisfy the desire of my soul. Forgive me for replacing you with idols in my life. Only you can satisfy. Teach me to hunger for you and feast on you. May you be my heart's chief desire. That's a great prayer. That's a really great prayer. Let's read it one more time. Jesus, you are everything I've ever wanted, but how often I turn to other things to satisfy the desires of my soul. Forgive me for replacing you with idols in my life. Only you can satisfy. Teach me to hunger for you and feast on you. May you be my heart's chief desire. I'm sorry, y'all. I know I keep looking around randomly. My cat's being a little crazy this morning. I'm trying to make sure she's not messing with any of the Christmas decorations. But yeah, that's a beautiful prayer. I love that. He's the only one that can fill it, you know? And that's so awesome. And when you do, that's what's so great about it too, because once you begin to feast on him, excuse me. But when you begin to feast on him, it's crazy how much that hunger does grow, and it's always fulfilled. It's you are always craving more of him, but he's always there to answer it, and he gives you those answers. He gives you ways to fill that hunger, be it through study, service, community, whatever it is. If we're listening to him, he'll lead us to that next thing. So even though our hunger for him continues to grow, we continue to feast on him, and he gives us more and more to be able to fill those hungers and ultimately lead us, to a more intimate place with him and a more intimate connection with him. And it's constantly growing. That's what's so awesome about it to me, is like it never stops. So we should never stop. We should always be growing in God, seeking ways to be closer to him, ways to be more Christ-like, to show the world what we have and what he's given us. And we're always, if we're truly following our walk, and if we are truly, following him and trying to get closer to him, we'll always have growth, because we always can grow, and there's always more to learn when it comes to Jesus and God. So it's what an awesome thing. Even though he feeds that hunger and he makes us more hungry for him, he satisfies it at the same time, and it just encourages us to go and keep going and growing with him. So, awesome prayer. But for the further study for this one, we have Leviticus 24, 5 through 9, Matthew 5 and 6, John 6:25 through 27, and 14:6. So let me read this one more time. Leviticus 24, 5 through 9, Matthew 5, 6, John 6:25 through 27, and John 14:6. So that's the further reading for this particular study for the Bread of Life. So if you do want to go check out, maybe dig a little bit deeper into it, maybe it's the first time you're hearing the Bread of Life analogy, that's the reading where you would be able to find a little bit more, maybe dig a little bit deeper if you wanted to. So that's there for y'all if you need it. But we'll close out for now. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope somebody found this video helpful, and it reached you today. That's my goal. That's why I do this, so I really hope somebody has benefited from this today. I do wish you a very Merry Christmas, and I will see y'all later today to do our 20th day of Advent. And actually, I just remembered that's not even a name. It'll be our activities to go with joy before we light our new candle, because our new candle will be tomorrow. So that'll be fun. It's a cool little activity thing they give you to help you practice out the candle. So definitely don't want to miss that. So I will see y'all later today. Merry Christmas.